All right, what's going on, everybody? Appreciate you guys hopping back in. We are going to be doing some live mock drafts. Now, we are going to be going through the final four teams: the New England Patriots, the New York Giants, the Cleveland Browns, and Tennessee Titans, number one overall, in that order as well. So we are going to work up from four to the start of the draft, go and do a mock draft for each one of those teams. And if you are watching on YouTube, if you are watching on Twitter, feel free to leave your comments, leave your thoughts. If you are watching on TikTok, to my left of me right now, go to my profile, head over there. That way you can physically see the mock draft on the screen. I want you guys to make sure you see what I'm actually doing here. But without further ado, let's get into this. I'm going to share my screen for everybody here. We are going to start a new mock draft. You just saw my Jaguars one. We're going to start a new mock draft with the New England Patriots. Now, looking at – I clicked the wrong thing here. Looking at the Patriots picks, they have 4, 38, 69, 77 from Atlanta. I believe that's the Matt Judon trade. 144, 171 from Dallas, 220, and 238 from the Los Angeles Chargers. So they're in a good spot. You look at the needs according to PFF. It's running back, receiver, and O-line. I don't think running back is as crazy of a need as people make it out to be. However, I do think it's such a deep class, they're going to take one in the first few rounds. Looking at the roster, they need another quarterback. They're going to have to take another quarterback in the draft. That's the reality of it. Looking at the receiver room, it's bare. They need it, but it's tackle. Tackle is the issue here. Vidarian Lowe is a liability at the left tackle spot. They're going to take Will Campbell. Will Campbell's going to be the pick at 4. Sorry for spoiling that, but he's going to be. However, later on, I think the Patriots have enough ammunition to move up. I think they have enough motivation to move up. I think it's going to be a good spot for them to, take swings at trading up for players. Now, I am going to slow this down a little bit. Like I said, Will Campbell is the pick at 4 here. I know Ashton Genty's very appealing. I know Ted McMillan would be appealing at the receiver spot. I think you can get bigger-bodied receivers later on. Will Campbell, the best true left tackle in this draft, at least right now, is the pick. Now, we are going to pause it, and we are going to go a little bit slower around that 20 spot. I want to see which receivers fly off the board because I do think that could be a priority for the Patriots moving forward. Looking at 29, there's still a lot of really good receivers who are on the board. I think Jaden Higgins is the guy I'm really looking at. Luther Burden is also on the board. I don't mind that. Now, what would it take? I'm staring at Washington, who needs picks. What would it take to get up with Washington? If we gave him 106, it would go through. If we gave him 144, it would probably go through. I would be okay with that, to be honest with you. I would be willing to sacrifice pick 144 for, no pun intended, a receiver. Now, I'm just going to make sure Luther Burden is still on the board, and I didn't miss him. He's still on the board. I'll try that again. I'd love this trade to work. Okay, so that's not going to go through. We tried 3 times. It's not going to go through. I mean, they need picks. I'd be willing to give them an extra round 7 from New Orleans. Nope. Okay. So if we can't pull the trigger on this trade, we're not going to trade. If we gave them 220, it might go through. If we gave them 171, it probably would. I'd be willing to swap 171 for 205. Okay, so not going to go through. We can't work a trade out. We just got to hope now because we can't trade. Cleveland, I mean, we could try to get up with them too. 33 for 38. And again, I'd give them 144. And that would go through. I'd give them 171. That would go through. 220 would go through. Like, I would do that. Okay, we're on the clock. We're taking Luther Burden. We're not thinking about it. 69 is our next pick. Nice. We're going to be on the clock. They're looking at probably running back. But I think the 2 biggest needs have been scratched right away. This might be our best mock yet with the New England Patriots. I think the 2 biggest needs have been scratched off right away. We're taking the best player on the board. We have to mortgage a day 3 pick to move up and take Luther Burden, which I'm totally fine with. And now, there's some good players on the board here. Again, looking at the Patriots depth chart, they made some really, really good signings this offseason. Defensively, I don't think there's a ton of needs. But if there were to be a need, it would be, call me crazy, I think it's edge rusher. I like Harold Landry III a lot, but I think you can get some edge rushers that can be immediate difference makers in your defense. The only thing is you want true outside linebackers, dynamic guys. Demetrius Knight isn't that. He is a true box linebacker, so it's not him. There are some really good running backs on the board, though, and I think Caleb Johnson is worth a pick at 69 right here, and we're going to be on the clock at 77 again. Remember that. So we can look for edge rushers, pass rushers right here. This is right now probably the best draft I've done. We got Jack Sawyer, who it's true. Oh, you know what? Trading down for Jack Sawyer was very appealing. Now, I think we can get down with Cincinnati. It probably would be a pick swap. I'd be fine moving down. What? 4 spots to get 153. We might go through with 119. Yeah, we'll take 119 also. That's fine. I'll move down 4 spots. They'll take Demetrius Knight, which makes sense. So now we're on the clock again, looking at a guy like Jack Sawyer. We can trade down again. I don't know if he'll be there at 88. I really don't know. I'm not going to mess around. I'm just going to take Jack Sawyer here. The Ohio State connection is there with Mike Vrabel. This is a defensive captain. This is Vrabel 2.0. You want him. 119, 106 are our next couple picks. And I'm fine waiting for those picks. We still need some offensive line help. We need a swing tackle. We need help up front. Offensive line help. Harold Fannin Jr. is very, very enticing. Who wants to trade up? The Jets want to trade up. I mean, we could get one we don't need to trade. We don't need to trade down with the Jets. Harold Fannin Jr. is the best player on the board. Looking at our tight end room, Hunter Henry, Austin, but we don't need it. We don't need it. That's the reality of it. I love it. He is the best player on the board. Jamari Caldwell could be a place that we go. I mean, this is a true, he's more of a 4-3 defensive end. So I don't know if I really want to lean into that. But, I mean, looking at who's available, we picked Lathan Ransom instead of Jack Sawyer. So that's fine. We can take a safety spot, whatever. Well, no big deal there. We can move there. And Jack Sawyer went the pick before us. Oh, man. All right, so disaster in the draft. No, we're fine. But there are some good edge rushers who are still on the board, and that is where we're going to go here. We can take Tyler Batty, but he might be there at 119, so I think we almost wait. David Walker is a very good player as well. Let's take Harold Fannin Jr. Let's just take the best pass catcher on the board, and I am completely fine with that. We're going to be on the clock at 119. Tyler Batty goes, but we still have David Walker to take. And again, we're mortgaging, we're moving up and getting picks. This is a really, really good draft so far. I'm going to move through because we're not trading at all. On the clock here at 144, we do need a quarterback, and I think Will Howard could come in and back Drake May up, but I don't think we need to prioritize that right now. Dylan Fairchild's a guy who can play left or right guard. That's going to help you on the inside. I think Dylan Fairchild is the pick here. Then on the clock at 171, this is where we can go quarterback. I honestly think a guy like Kyle McCord is the better pick than Quinn Ewers and Dylan Gabriel, so we go there. In 238, Marcus Harris has a profile picture. That's awesome. We can move through. I mean, you probably want to get an offensive lineman who's played multiple positions. I think that's the way to go. Holland Pierce has played right and left tackle. He's the best tackle on the board. Let's take him. I like this draft a lot. I think the first few picks went really, really well for us. We might get 2 A+, A-, A+, and Caleb Johnson. Lathan Ransom a C, Harold Fannin Jr. B, David Walker C+, Dylan Fairchild A-, overall draft grade an A-, top 24% of New England Patriots drafts. Let's move to the New York Giants. Again, if you guys are watching on TikTok right here, head over to my profile and go to YouTube or Twitter, subscribe, follow, whatever, but go over there. That way you can actually see the mock instead of just hearing me talk about it. But go over there and we can move forward. Now, looking at my New York Giants. Oh, man, this is going to be fun. Look, I think the Giants are going to be aggressive in trading back up for a quarterback. I think that's how it's going to go. But there are other needs. I think they could use some interior offensive line help. I like the tackles they have, to be honest with you. I am not wildly worried about the tackles. I think they could use some secondary depth. I think they could use some defensive line depth. But, this roster is solid. It's a solid roster. I don't know if it's a playoff roster, but it's a solid roster. And, I mean, they're going to take, assuming Travis Hunter and Cam Ward go here, they're freezing up a little bit here. They're going to take Abdul Carter. That's what's going to happen. Let's wait for this to load a little bit. I don't know what's going on. We froze up a little bit here. I'll pause this. We're freezing up. Oh, geez. Okay. Well, I'm going to be realistic here. The Giants are not going to get Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is going to Hold on one second here, guys. I'm freezing up on the computer. Let me see if I can fix any of this stuff. We don't need this. Don't need this. Okay, we're going to take Abdul Carter at 3. Back on the clock at 34. If the Giants did trade up, they'd trade up for a quarterback, so I'm going to assume they do. We'll take a quarterback at 34. It's going to be Jalen Milroe if he's on the board. I know people are saying Jackson Dart is the Giants guy, excuse me. I think the pairing of Brian Daboll and Jalen Milroe is a match made in heaven, and I think that's his guy. I think they want Jalen Milroe. I think they go Jalen Milroe. On the clock at 65 for the New York Giants. It's loading, taking a minute to load. If Alec Ayomanor falls this far, they're going to take him. That is absolutely no-brainer. This might be the best mock we've had so far. 99 and 105 for the Giants. Again, I mean, Anthony Belton's a guy who's played both sides. I believe he's played both sides. No, just pure left. Okay, so we don't need a left tackle. We got Andrew Thomas. Yeah, they have Abdul Carter. They don't need any more defensive line help, at least right now. Harold Fannin Jr. would be a nice addition. I think they could use some bulk up front, though, and I think that's probably the way they go about it. I think Jamari Caldwell or Vernon Broughton is the pick. Probably Vernon Broughton. Will go Broughton there. And then back on 105, I think they can take some running back depth. I think they can be a little more aggressive here. I think they can truly lean into that room with a guy like Devin Neal. Back on the clock at 154. This is where they potentially go DB. I like Jordan Hancock, but to be honest with you guys, I do still think they have to find a swing tackle. Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon has played both sides. Chase Lunt has been a pure right tackle. I think they find the swing. I think they find him where he's more comfortable and make sure he's their depth piece who can step in on either side. At 219 for the New York Giants, Caleb Ransaw is the hybrid Sam they are not going to bring back in Isaiah Simmons. And then on the clock at 246, I'm going to keep this very, very bare, guys. C.J. Dupree out of Alabama, Jalen Milroe's teammate. This is the New York Giants mock draft. An F for Jalen Milroe at 34. Guess what? He's going to get picked there. A for Alec Ayomanor, A for Vernon Broughton, and C pluses and Bs. A B plus overall for this Giants draft. Let's move into the Cleveland Browns. Now, before I do anything with the Cleveland Browns, I want to go into Pickett. Talk about this for a second. There is a link in the description for those watching on YouTube for this. If you join Pickett with code LEADS, you'll get a couple extra bucks to put on any NFL future you want. Right now, Cleveland Browns 4.5 plus wins at minus 160 is way too low. It's way too low. Even at 5.5 at plus 110, I'd like, to be honest with you. Look, I think it's real. I think this team is good. I think this team can draft really well and improve their chances of winning. They're becoming a 500 roster, and I think they're going to do it. Now, at 2, they're going to take Travis Hunter. That's a no-brainer. But what I am going to do really slowly here is try to trade back up because I think, well, Shedeur Sanders goes early. I think there's a world they trade back in and get Shedeur Sanders if he's there. If he's not, I think this is the trade. I think this is the trade that happens. I think it's 20-33. I honestly do think it's Greg Newsome. As much as I love Greg Newsome, I don't want him to go. I think he's a part of this trade. I think that's what happens. I think the Browns are on the clock. They take their quarterback in Jackson Dart. I know it sounds crazy, but I think that's what happens. The Browns will be on the clock at 67. So at 67, what's interesting, the Browns have so many other picks. I don't think they're pigeonholed into staying at 67, to be fully honest with you. Why is it not working? I think the Browns are probably going to be aggressive in the middle rounds to move up and take a running back. And it's all about who they've traded with in the past, right? They have a deal in place with Denver. They've had a deal in place with Denver. You look at the end of round 2, that pick 56 right here. Oh, I got to let it go. Pick 56. They've traded with Buffalo before. Remember, the Buffalo Bills have pick 62, so they still would be more inclined to trade down if they got something else in return. It would probably be a swap like a 102, probably not 109, but a 102, 104, 132 swap. This will probably go through, right? No. Okay, there we go. And the Browns will be on the clock here being aggressive and taking a running back. That's the reality of it. I think Caleb Johnson's the best back on the board here. They take Caleb Johnson, and then they're not on the clock till 94. Now, what's interesting at 94 and all these depth picks, they're probably going to stay. I don't think they have to be wildly aggressive trading up. I think they stay at 94 and they take the best player on the board. Now, Cam Williams is interesting because he is a true pure left tackle, and I think the Browns lean left before they lean right because Jack Conklin's right now. If he retires, if he leaves anytime soon, you can kind of slide DeJuan Jones back to his natural position where he's been very good. But I also do worry about the tight end depth. Do they take somebody here? Do they wait? I think they wait, and I think they take Cameron Williams right now. I love Harold Fannin Jr., and I think that'd be a fun pick, but some of the tight ends in this draft, like this is a deeper tight end draft. I love Thomas Fedone. I think you can wait a little bit to get him. Pick 179. I don't know if he's going to be there, but I still do think there's other interior offensive line positions that they can worry about. There's edge rusher, defense. Like they need safeties really bad too. I think people overlook that. A guy like Jordan Hancock, who's really done it all. He's played in the slot. He's played deep. He's played in the box. He can do a lot of different things, but they need like a center fielder. And to me, that's Jalen Reed. He can do a lot of different things, right? He can help in the run, but they need a center fielder. Stand by. We're getting a phone call. They need a center fielder. They need somebody who can step in and immediately be that deep half guy. Dan Jackson's very good as well, but I think Jalen Reed is the guy who can help out in the run game. And then in 179, then you can go the more fun picks. You can look at Andrew Armstrong for receiver depth. I absolutely love that. He dominated the SEC. The Cleveland Browns now, though, need tight end help. More depth than anything. And looking at the picks that we have so far, it's been primarily offense. That's how it's going to be for the Cleveland Browns. They have a lot of rookies on the defensive side of the ball anyways. I think Luke Lackey is probably the best player on the board right now at the tight end position. They don't really need that. Like they can take other more important positions, an interior defensive line, an edge rusher, especially if they're going to wind up trading Obo Okoronkwo. But right now they're not going to. We'll take Marcus Harris at 200 looking at who's on the board. Again, I think Luke Lackey's the best player here, so we can wait a little bit there. I am honestly fascinated by the idea. Scroll down. Oh, we missed him. I am fascinated by the idea. I'm going to start over here of Johnny Walker Jr., who's a guy who's more athletic, like a pure pass rusher, 6'3", 255. He is a good player, but I think a guy like Fadil Diggs may come in because he's more of an outside, wide 9 pass rusher. He's 6'5". He's longer. He is what you need in a pass rusher. Both those guys will probably be there for us in the next couple picks. So we go best player on the board here. Do we take another quarterback? Probably not. We probably go Upton Stout and help the defensive back room out a lot. Then at 215, this is probably where we go Fadil Diggs. And then at 255, our final pick, this is where we go Luke Lackey, one of the 3 best players on the board. I like this draft, the Browns. It's Hunter. It's trading up for a quarterback. That's what's going to wind up happening. That's the reality of it. Whether you like it or not, the Browns are going to be aggressive in pursuit of Dart, Shador, or we're still analyzing the draft here. They're going to be aggressive in pursuit of Dart, Shador, or Jalen Milroe, whichever one you like, whichever one you don't like. That's the reality. I hate to break it to you. That's what's happening. Now, this is a very, very weird spot. We're going to be Tennessee Titans here in a second. It's a very weird spot for the Tennessee Titans because they are not like – I may have to reset this. They're taking Cam Ward, number 1 overall. I don't think they're going to be aggressive in trying to move up. They have 135. They don't have a third-round pick. 103 to 120, 141, 167, 178, 188. So they have the ammunition to move up, but I think they're going to be comfortable sticking in those middle rounds, especially considering they don't need – oh, I did a 1-round mock draft. That's on me. Especially considering they don't need to be really aggressive at, the running back position. I'll pull up their depth chart real quick. Like, I think everybody's pigeonholing in like Cam Scatabo to go there. I don't think that's going to happen. I think everybody's pigeonholing them in to take some other running back, some other receiver. I think they could use some receiver help. But at the end of the day, like, they need DB help to me. Like, I look at this. L'Jarius Sneed is great, and you want to lean into that secondary. They need another corner. I think they could use some linebacker help. They don't have a defensive identity. That's what they need. They need a defensive identity. And I think they, after Cam Ward, go that route. I think they really, really try to get the best defensive players on the board. They're not going to trade up from 35. They're not going to do that. But a guy like Walter Nolan, like if he falls to them at 35, they're going to do that every single time. I think they could use an edge rusher as well, but Walter Nolan's almost too good to pass up. I'm going to go pretty quickly through the second round. I think round 3 we can look to move up, but I don't think there's going to be any need to move up in the second round. So going into round 3 again, we're still 30 picks away. You don't really trade unless you're like 20-ish picks away. So we can pause here. Pick 88, like I don't think we need it. Ravens have a lot of picks. I don't think they're going to want to do it. Saints, no. Chiefs, no. The Vikings don't have a lot of picks, and we would be willing to move up, give them 188. We can swap as well. Yeah, I would do this in a heartbeat. So 97, 139 for 3 more picks to move down 6 spots for Minnesota. This has got to go through, right? Let's see. Yeah, okay, so we're on the clock at 97, and Elijah Roberts is on the board. That's who we're going to take. Like, it's a no-brainer for us here to just continue to build the defensive identity, and we move up again in the 5th round, if I'm not mistaken. R.J. Mickens can come in and play safety for us right away, but I think we need edge rusher, to be honest with you. Elijah Roberts will be able to do one side, but do you really trust that enough? Do you really trust the Titans' defensive line outside of Jeffrey? Like, I think they need a defensive identity. R.J. Mickens would be a great safety piece, but I think they need corner help. I love Robert Longerbeam, and he's going to be available for us for the next pick. So I think they do go R.J. Mickens here. We've gone very defensive heavy, so maybe we look at receivers, but like I don't love any of the receivers who are available right now. I think Isaiah Bond would be a good pick, but there's off-the-field stuff. Pat Bryant would be a good pick. Ty Felton. Like Dante Thornton Jr. to me is like the dominant outside guy. Andrew Armstrong too. So at 139, like I think we go best player available, which unless he's been taken already. No, he's not. Unless he's been taken already, is Robert Longerbeam. And I think that's an immediate contributor to our defense. Now I think we can be more aggressive swinging at wide receiver, which probably, again, Dante Thornton Jr., he may be there for us later on. I think we wait, to be honest with you there. Now it's about best player on the board. And I look at the running back room, guys, like I'm not that worried. Everybody's talking about Tony Pollard. I am not wildly worried. I know it's a deep class. I love the offensive line. The offensive line is great, and it's deep. Maybe you go linebacker. Like the best players on the board right now, we don't need quarterback. We're not going to do that. This is tough. Like I think Jack Kaiser. I think we probably go Jack Kaiser. This may be a trade down spot, to be honest with you. What could the Jets give us to trade down? Like I'd take 186, 207. I mean, that's the only trade that could happen here, Jets. Okay, there we go. So we'll take 207. So we get an extra pick to move down 3 spots, which is fine. Giants want to move up 9 spots. Nothing of real use to us. We're not going to do that. We're going to take the best player on the board, Barrett Carter. Let's move forward. We'll be on the clock at 178 and 207. So we get an extra pick. We can take our wide receiver, which, again, probably will be Dante Thornton or Andrew Armstrong if they're available. Neither available. Both went. Okay, Nick Nash is probably our next guy in terms of target. Although Jalen Lane is a good player, and he's a little shorter, but not the outside dominant guy that you want. He's a slot guy. You're bringing in Tyler Lockett already, Samuel Brown. You reuniting him with Cam Ward is probably the best way to go here. And then at 207, we are going to have, let's see, look at our picks so far. We've really built up the defense. I still think we go defensive line. Looking at who's available. Cody Simon's a good player. I hate to keep picking Caleb Ransaw, but I like him. I think R.J. Oben's probably the best pick off the edge. So we get multiple edge rushers, multiple linebackers, multiple this is the way to go for us. I like this draft a lot. I think Cam Ward at 1, obviously. Walter Nolan, round 2, Elijah Roberts, and R.J. Mickens. I think this is a very good draft. This is an A draft, top 13% of Tennessee Titans draft. I like this draft a lot. Let me know which of the 4 you guys think is best. But I appreciate you guys watching the stream. We're going to be live all throughout the day today. If you're seeing this before the NFL draft, make sure you're locked in. God bless you guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.